Hello guys, what's up everybody? This is M&W Show. I welcome you guys to an exciting episode, and together with me I have my co-host with an amazing guest. Before we proceed, my co-host will say something. Karibu Mati.
Thank you so much. Hello guys, welcome to M&W Show. So today we have a friend who came. He has an interesting story. So you guys, let's listen so that you can get something from him. Karibu bro.
Thanks sana. So kwa wale ambao hawanijui, naitwa Evans. But then thanks sana for inviting me to the show. It's been a minute, it's been a while. Yeah. I've always been willing to, come and participate with you guys in this show.
It's a sit down we've been waiting for.
Yeah, it's a sit down, of course. So
Evans,
yeah,
we want to know, tell us about yourself. Like, let's start with the introduction part. Who is Evans?
Well, that's a tough one, but also a simple one.
Okay.
So Evans Ojengo is a simple man.
Okay.
My story spans way back into 1992. You know, the problem, or not even a problem, but rather the most exciting thing about me is that I don't forget things.
Okay, that's interesting. That's nice. At least you'll have a lot of things
to tell us.
Yeah, it can also be a blessing in disguise, but it can also be a curse in disguise.
Why are you saying it can be a curse?
Yeah. Because can you imagine if...
I get that. I get that part. Like the bad memories.
Bad memories.
Yeah.
Good memories. Okay. And I believe if you have a boyfriend or if you have a girlfriend, and for us men, your girlfriend, what would happen if you're able to remember everything you guys have ever done together?
It's good and bad at the same time because there are those bad memories and then there are those sweet ones. So I guess the sweet ones will overcome the bad ones. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, so for me, my story spans way back to 1992.
So were you born in 1992?
Yeah, I was born in 1992.
Okay.
July. Actually, 21st July is my birthday.
So, bro, 21st July. Okay.
That is next week.
Next week, yeah.
As at the time of this recording. Mm-hmm. So, I'm a firstborn in a family of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that caught you nowhere. Today it's very difficult to find,
Yeah.
Na hiyo economy ya Ruto.
Manze.
The taxes na VAT na kila kitu. It's very difficult finding a couple getting up to 10 children in today's society.
But it's something that we are scared of it because personally, for me to get something to eat personal as Martin, it's not easy. So, Makiu, you have a family of 10 people.
Yeah.
Buddha staki kutesa watoto wangu. I'll get what I can manage.
Exactly. Yeah. But I also think, our parents who were born in the 60s, 70s, they took children as a form of blessing.
Blessing and wealth.
As well.
Yeah, so, if you have kids, you'll be seen as someone with a lot of wealth.
Perhaps that's why my father calls himself wealthy.
And again, they understood the instruction from the Bible.
Yeah. What are instructions?
Give back to fill the world.
Multiply.
At what cost? But then I will understand that as part of the story.
Okay.
So, having been born in a family of 10, each and every one of us was spaced by 2 years. Let's say 1.5 years. So, 1992 was born somewhere in Hobby County. But then fast forward, I think for us life was simple.
Okay.
Having grown up, you get to learn things as you go. I spent the early years of my life, that is the first 3 years of my life, with my grandmother.
So you used to say you're not with your parents, with your grandmother?
Yeah, I used to stay most of the time with my grandmother, which also is coming as, I'll bring that out shortly, why that used to happen. So perhaps just to recoup the first 3 years of my life, being a firstborn. I think they say that I used to be fat. But I used to be fat. I used to be like bulky or bulges. I don't know where that weight went to, though I don't want to be fat again. I think my physical fitness is currently satisfied with this. But then, so we used to, I'm born in Homa Bay. We moved to Ntewa, and we find ourselves living in a single room. Those people used to live in a single room by that time. If you remember the years of 1997s, the 1998s, the 1995s and the 6s, those guys were somehow wealthy. But you see, the wealth that my father had, or whatever the place that he was staying at that time, was inherited. It was an inherited kind of wealth. Okay. So being the only child in the family, and my brother just come in, just a young boy. So the family budget was easier to maintain. Yeah. The mom was a housewife. Dad was working in a local NGO hospital around the community. So whatever that he was getting was very easy to support the family. But one thing I would like to talk about my dad, or want to thank my dad for, was that he supported education. He was a great support of education. And this has he has gone a long way into even supporting the rest of my siblings, and also see how this again influences the kind of person I am, and the kind of person that even the rest of the kids in the family are. So growing up, life was easy. I can say that getting food was very easy. Getting getting daily meals, bar of soap here and there was very easy. But then we should also remember that the economy at that time was also very affordable. You could find that a bar of soap was going for 20 shillings. Today, if you go to the shop, a bar of soap would go for 250.
Yeah,
it's 250.
Yeah, a quarter kg of sugar was 5 of them. Today, a quarter kg of sugar is, how much is it?
50 shillings.
Around 50 shillings. So life was very affordable. But then things started getting south, just as with any other normal marriages. Of course, couples will always have issues when it comes to finances. This is only because I think at that time Dad was earning, was it 500 shillings per month?
That was so manageable.
Yeah, manageable. So by this year, we're not talking about 1997 towards 1998. I think this time I'm around 5 years old. So we're only, I think that we are only 3 siblings, me, my bro, and then my other sis, who now comes in 1996. But remember, with that small age of children, it's very easy to feed, because 3 kids, and then you find that the cost of living is still low, so it was very easy to take care of them, take care of us. But then something happened around 1998. I think there was a drought that came in, and then the food crops had not matured. Was so low. So 2 of us, me and my bro, had to be quote unquote exported to my grandma. Because of the hunger.
So this time, where are you guys staying? Where were you guys staying?
Yeah, we're still staying in the county.
Okay.
In that Kasingoro.
Okay. So you had to go to your dad's place. Your mom's place.
Yes.
Okay.
In a place called Rangoi.
Okay.
So my sister remains with my dad, but me and my mom and my other bro go to stay with my grandma. I think living with grandma was very encouraging, because it molded me into the kind of person also the I look at things. My maturity was very high.
Yeah.
Because my grandma had goats. He had a lot of goats. So you'd find that most of the time when she would go to the market, she would leave us the responsibility of taking care of these goats, make sure they graze, make sure they get enough grass, and make sure that they come back home on time. So my bro and I grew up under the care of my grandma that time, as my sis was with my mom this other side. Things got again very bad. The hunger continued, then the pay was not enough, and then my sis also had to be brought to my grandma.
Just a question. Why were everybody being taken to your grandma's place? Were there a lot of food over there? Why were
Yes. My grandma was very hardworking. She had acres and acres of land. So she would do a lot of agriculture on that land. She used to plant millet. Actually, right now I know how to plant millet, and I even wonder why today people do not plant millet. It's a very staple food crop. She used to plant a lot of sweet potatoes. She used to plant a lot of maize.
So she had a lot of food.
Yeah, there's food. I remember when you have food and then the people are suffering because, but then you are planted in plenty. We used to have granaries. I rarely see granaries today.
It's like, I think people say it's more of old school to have granaries. I don't know why, but the old people do value it so much.
We used to value it. And then while social staying at grandma, I also taught myself how to hunt and gather with dogs.
No, we didn't do that one.
Did you do hunting and gather?
No.
Yeah, you go and spot is it called a hare, or it's called a rabbit?
Rabbit.
Yeah.
And
then you have dogs. Yeah, they were own German shepherds.
The
Kenyaji ones. So you go into the bushes with your panga and with your rungu, and then you set it off, and then the dogs run. But then the day, in the evening, you have a killing, and then you come home. So you have unga, and then you have this other thing. So that really molded us into the kind of person I am, being responsible, having to look for your own, at a time when something like that was happening. Fast forward, it's time now for me and my bro and my sis to begin school. What you don't know is that my sis was born in 96, I was born in 92, my bro was born in 94. But we all began school at the same time.
Okay, this is not funny. Like, what happened?
What happened?
Like,
I had to repeat nursery 4 times.
Why?
I remember, and I told you that my mom used to bring us this outside with my grandma.
Okay.
So I don't know, just as many of the number of couples. I think when couples like you, the girl always like, I'm going to my
with my kids.
I'm going with my kids. So when the school is almost closing, so she takes us. When the school is opening again, she returns us. But sometimes
so you end up repeating.
You repeat a class, then you sometimes don't even do the exams. And at the end of the exams.
So, it's weird because it's the first time getting someone is repeating nursery like 4 times.
Yeah.
But you found yourself in that situation.
I just found myself in that
Okay.
situation. That time we also didn't have this PP1, PP2.
Yeah.
So that happened. So by the year 2000, me, my sis and my bro, we all go to nursery. Together.
So you're the elder one.
I'm the elder.
Then you're with the last one, sister in the same class.
Yes, and then my bro.
You're just okay with that.
I'm okay with that. Actually, I didn't even know what was happening, but then I think, I loved it. Going to the school for the first day. I remember we were bought for an exercise book, one which was 32 pages, and then they cut it into 3. So the first third, the second third, and then the third.
Yeah, the third for you.
There's a time like that. So I got the first third, then my sis and my brother, then they got a pencil. The pencil used to be that white, that used to be colorless.
Yeah.
Remember that pencil?
With a rubber.
Yeah.
Colorless.
Yeah, there's a colorless pencil. The one that it was white, the traditional pencil.
Yeah, with a rubber.
Very poor quality. That had some rubber.
Did you use that pencil?
I can't remember. Let's go. I can't remember.
Right. So that one also we have to the katio maratatu. So I took the top.
So this book that 2 pages mligawa mara 3.
Yeah, the 62 pages tumegawa. Na imekatwa na kisu.
Kumaanisha imeenda kompo.
Then you have to go there and learn the alphabet. So fast forward, that is the year 2000. We're in nursery school. Something happens again. My dad, I think, gets a better pay from 500 shillings, around 900 shillings per month. And now it's time now for us now to come back, because at least the economy has gotten better. As with any other man, when you get money, you always want your woman and your kids around you.
Around you.
So we come from my grandma's place and we rush this other side to my dad again. But this time right now I go to class 1. I just jumped from nursery now to class 1.
The other siblings?
They remained in nursery.
Oh, so at least you are one step ahead.
Actually, my siblings would remain in nursery for the next 3 years.
Bro, what was wrong with this? Okay, this is so funny because your dad brought you guys back to the one.
Yeah.
Because he had his salary panda kidogo.
Yeah.
And then your situation where you repeated it because of your mom moving.
Yeah, moving.
Then why did your siblings repeat now?
During that time also, one of my siblings would remain because they didn't want to. They liked being with grandma. But grandma also, the other sibling who remained did not like going to school that much. So they would repeat. And then this other one just liked nursery, like the Uji and the everything. So she didn't want to move to class 1.
Okay.
So I go to class 1. I performed very poorly in class 1. So my dad got some sponsorship, and then she took me to an academy school. The first academy school in our region at that time. Yeah. That time it was called Success.
Success in Rongo?
In Thiwa.
In Thiwa?
Yes.
Okay.
The very first school. Today it's someone's homestead. Yeah. So there is where I learned how to
I also did I can't remember, I studied in Success.
Yeah.
Like a term also.
Oh.
Okay. So I remember having to hear the English language for the first time in this school. So fast forward, I learned how to read and write. Things are going very good for me. But then there wasn't enough money for me to continue learning in academy school, private school. So I had to be taken back to public school. So now moving from class 1 to class 2, my performance was very good. Remember having repeated nursery 4 times. Now I've learned how to speak some English. I can do some basic maths and arithmetics. I go to a public school. You all know that public schools, there's a bit of laziness if you compare that to private. So it's very easy for me to surpass even the other kids. and I think my position also was well going forward. Fast forward, we got a second sibling and a third sibling between 2000 and 2002. But unfortunately, wote walipass.
So,
Yeah, because that time there was a disease called malaria.
Yeah.
So malaria at that time, I think the cure for them, for us then, was something that was not easy to find.
Yeah, that is fine.
Yeah, and you know, malaria, it actually drains the blood out. I think the female anopheles mosquito, I don't know, there's a way in which it feeds on the red blood cells. So when the kid runs out of blood, they can easily pass out. And I think I did not know what really happened, but now I really understand what happened. Yeah, and it's very sad that to hear that even today malaria is still one of the top killing diseases in Kenya. But anyway, so that happened. Fast forward, another academy school comes in. It's called Kemba Academy. You know it. Yeah.
So which class were you in?
And now we're talking about 2 or 3. I'm now in class 3 now.
Okay.
Yeah, actually I think it was just a coincidence that my learning was moving by the years.
Okay.
2000
It's
class
because
1,
you took 4
2000.
years. It's because you took 4 years.
Yeah.
I was waiting for
You were waiting for the
2000.
2000.
Yeah, to start with the years.
Okay.
Okay. So class 3, I go to an academy school. My bro now is joining class 1. My sis also has joined class 1, but I don't know how they caught up with each other. Even though one did not like school, the other one liked school, liked being with grandma. So in class 3, I moved to this other academy school, private school called Kemba. And when I move this other side, I find that learning this other side is so intense. Because even if you look at the kind of syllabus that was here, it was very rigorous. There's a lot of reading going on. There's a lot of, teachers are so strict. We used to be caned. Remember when I told you that I was so fat? Yeah. I'm still fat at this time, actually. 2003.
Okay.
And actually, you don't know, like, nini short yenye wanafunzi wanavaanga. Ingine inafaa ifike hapa. For me ilikuwa inafika hapa. Because when you stand ama when you sit. Gani ukisoma ina nini? When you sit.
It's maybe like a lady's dress.
Yeah.
When you stand, ikifika huko, ukikaa chini,
it's unakunja. Because I had some very good, some very big body.
Okay.
So hii mwili would reduce later on, as I'm going to explain shortly.
Okay.
But something to note during this time is that, again, things, now we have increased in number, we're growing, and the economy is also getting stiffer. So life becomes very difficult for us.
Okay.
This is around the year 2003. So I stayed in this academic school until I finished class 8. But I remember while at Kemba, life becomes very difficult because Mato unajua kulala njaa ni nini? Lala njaa.
Sikupenda kwangu.
But have you ever slept hungry knowing very well that you're going to sleep hungry?
Nishaikaa, sina pesa na sina chakula. Na sijui naenda kutoa nyingine.
Usiseme stories za kambo.
When you're still young.
Like this is like I thank God I didn't experience that. I thank God.
Okay, I can say nimeinama for a meal in a day, but sijalala completely.
Now, for me, the situation was funny because, or for us, the situation was funny because imagine being in a situation whereby leo ni Sunday at the time of recording this video, but you know very well that on Wednesday at 7 p.m. hakuna supper. So you have to prepare psychologically.
Like okay,
yes.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Earlier you mentioned like your dad had a pay raise. You guys are like, right, it seems things are okay because you are now in
remember the salary is 900 shillings.
900 shillings.
Yeah.
Then now you're in private school. Yeah. For someone to take in a private school, things are moving good towards its way.
Yeah.
So the situation gani mlijipata di sasa unalala njaa?
Remember I told you my dad valued education.
Yeah.
So most of his finances actually go to paying my school fees than even doing the monthly budget.
So I have a question, like as a parent, I'm not a parent, but I'm just trying to figure out. As much as you love education, but education bila chakula msezi concentrate. Ama mimi naonaje?
As you may say so.
Okay, so that's my thought.
It gets to think.
That's my thought. Yeah. But like, I'm just trying to figure out where should I take my child to a private school? Yet it's going to come back in the evening na hakuna chakula. Jew, to be honest, can you study when you're hungry? I'm just trying to figure
You
out
can't.
one story.
You can't.
I'm just trying to figure out one story with the situation. So I'm just thinking about it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Those are some of the difficult questions that we still try to wrap.
I know. Maybe, to be honest, he had his reasons. Maybe angekupeleka private school. Buda sasa ungekuwa unasema English unasema this, unaona? Maybe sasa ungekuwa hapa. Maybe private school ilikuwa key to something. Yeah.
Partially.
Yeah.
Partially. So maybe just a heads up. Life was not easy. I think getting food was not easy. You can imagine yourself in a situation where you're coming back from school. There's no food, so you have to go back. Your fellow siblings, or not siblings, but other friends or classmates are coming back. You know, they carry different desserts after lunch. You know, they're carrying fruits. Some are carrying juices, and then you're just there. But then that is one of the things that really motivated me, because I did not want to live the kind of life that I was going through. I remember our head teacher, our class teacher, used to tell us that the future belongs to you. You make it today. So I just ask myself, so how am I going to make my future when I'm hungry? It tells me that yes, you have to study so that your kids or your future kids may not go hungry as you are. Okay. But even if you leave all the stories of food, life was generally not easy, even by the time we're still going through to primary. Because remember, even affording basic things like soap was a problem. Did you know this plant that you can dip it in water? Alafu inatoa sabuni.
I've heard of that.
Hiyo tulioga nayo mara nyingi.
Man, so at this time mko siblings wangapi?
This time we are, because now we are looking at 205, 206. Because another one came in in 203. There's another that came in 205. So there are two more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is so nice. Ivan, katika. Mkusema siblings wangapi? 5.
This time around, I think we are 6.
6.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us more.
So the year is around 2005. Yeah. So we still remember we're staying in that single room.
Oh,
so,
the one in
yeah. So you can imagine it's a single room in Atoshana, like almost the size of this room. Okay. A standard size of a normal bed sitter, large bed sitters of studios in Nairobi. So one of the part of the room is cut or split.
Bedroom ya wazazi.
Yes, but that bedroom also serves as a living room. Yeah. Then that living room and the bedroom is separated by a curtain.
Okay. No, I'm loading.
Then the kitchen is in some corner, and then the water, whatever, the vessels are in some corner. So at night mkisha kula, mnatoa hizi viti mnaziweka vizuri, alafu the 5 or the 6 of you mnalala hapo chini. You are trying to figure out that life, right?
Yeah.
You don't like it from the expression in your face. Anyway, that was it. And I can say that it was difficult, and most of the time I had to wait either for my siblings to sleep first, then I sleep, or sleep at a friend's place. It was not we were not built in our rural home. We were just within the local center. Okay. So you see, the family has grown. From way back where we were in 1990s, and then we are now in 2005. So fortunately enough, my dad gets sponsorship for me to go. For me, my bro, and my sibling from where I worked. He used to work with some NGO. They are local NGO that gave him a support for his
from the hospital. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So they told him, okay, you have been so faithful with us. You have worked with us for quite a number of years. You've been so hardworking. We want to give you back. We want to give back to you. Okay. And then my dad, because of his love for education, he says, okay, me, if you can educate for me, I want to do water. Nitafurahi sana.
Pesa yake inaenda huko sana.
Yeah. So this guy said, okay, tutawafunza mpaka wamalize college.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah. But that dream will be short-lived later. Anyway, so I joined a boarding school. Okay. My bro and my sis coming, and my other siblings.
The same school.
The same school.
Okay.
It's the campus school. So.
Which year was this?
This now is 2007 now. I'm in class 7. Okay. There's remember at this rate another kid has already coming.
Oh, so 7. Then the 7th kid.
The seventh kid.
Yeah, you're going class 7.
Yes.
Have you added weight ama bado kutu venye ilikuwa?
Now, the weight story is another interesting one because now, remember I go to boarding school. I'm happy because in boarding kuna chakula.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, mulikuwa na miss.
Ulikuwa na miss bwana, ulikuwa na inama mara moja bwana. Karibu. So, in the boarding school there is breakfast, there's uji in the morning, then there is lunch. The breakfast is there's 10 uji, then there is lunch, then there is supper. So at least I'm assured that in the boarding or in school I'll eat.
Bro, unajua sisi tulikuwa tunapatiwa chai ya saa 10.
It's cool.
You guys.
No, what happened? When I used to study, we had dairy cows in school. For me. So we are so lucky. Class 7, 6, I don't know, 7 and 6, 7 and 8, they used to be given tea at 4. We used to be given tea at 10, and class 6, 7 and 8, against 7 and 8. Milky, because we used to remain for 40 minutes after games for one class. So tulikuwa napatiwa maziwa ya chai. Which it was like, it was so nice.
You guys were like that. So for us, that was the story. But then remember, as doing all this, there's another side to the boarding school. Because now, remember in boarding school now, remember, I did not tell you this, but between class 5 and class 6, something happened before I got the sponsorship. Because I got the sponsorship in 2007. But before that, my parents used to pay the school fee from his own pocket. Okay. So it had to force me to leave the academy to go to a public school in class 5 and 6. But remember, the public schools, there was laxity on the side of the teachers. The rigor is not as much as that in private. So somehow I slowed down in my learning. So when I came back in 2007, now I found that even the people whom I was within the same class and moving the same year had already gone ahead of me.
How old are you at this time?
I was 12 in class 4, so how old was I in 2007? 3 years. So that I was around. How old was I? 204. I was 9. Sorry, 204. I was 9. So if you 204 and then you're looking at 207, so 204, 205, 205, 206, 207. So 9, 10, 11, 12. I was 12 years old. I was relatively also older than most of my mates at that time. So I come back, then there's these other colleagues of mine have already gone ahead of me. I can't grasp them. We do the first cut, and the mathematics, something that I've never gotten below 80. For the first time, I'm scoring 34%. I can tell you, you could not imagine the headmaster's anger and Fire's face when he came. And he put me and told me, you before you left here, you used to perform very well. Now look, you're either the so and so, who used to, they used to call it competition. Who used to compete with you? Today is in 80s, you are in 30s. If you don't work very hard, you will chase you away from this school. And those words really touched my heart. And then, the teachers, like in that school, there's a record performance history. So they can always go back to how was he performing in the other years and other classes. And they say, I used to be doing very well. So
that
the
was
teacher,
Mangla.
yes, and the head teacher, and even the deputy teacher was my class teacher by then. And then all attention shifts to me. I can tell you, sleepless nights, less food, and more viboko.
So wewe ulikuwa nakula sana ukasahau kusoma.
Also,
I did in public school.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can tell you the vibokos, the stand teachers, and then the regular routine. Because now all the teachers were focused on me now. The attention focused to me. And because the headmaster told them, I want this one to perform because the Wazungus are paying a lot of money here and they should not waste it. I reduced going to home on weekends. And I can tell you for the first time, my performance has started increasing gradually. Because I remember the first exam we did, from being position 1 before I left, now to position 8 overall. Then, from there I moved to position 4, which I stayed on for some time. Mathematics started moving from 30s to 40s to 50s to 60s. And actually I had to sit down with one of the top performing students by that time in 2007. And I told him that I want to do the things that you do that makes you perform the way you're performing. This guy was so brilliant. This guy would get like 496, 450s out of 500. And I adopted his method of doing things. I can tell you, it started giving me results. It just reached a point where now that body that I was telling you about, it shed off naturally.
You can mention this. But
I forgot about food. I forgot about sleep. I forgot about luxury, which I think is also, hurting the body. The child is supposed to be wholesome. I forgot about most of these things, and my mind, 99.7% of my mind was about books. For the first time, I shot, so not just term 1 nimefunga na 354. Term 2 nimefunga na 384. Term 3, term 1 position 8, term 2 position 4, term 3 from 484 to 431 at position 1. And the headmaster was so happy, he was so excited, and I moved over to class 8. Anyway, fast forward, I'm called, the calling letters come out, and I'm called to join Homabay High School. I can say that the mentality with which I went to high school with was not the same as the mentality that I came up. I didn't know that in high school, watu wakiendanga huko watu wanasoma. So me, I used to sit back and just wait for the cats to come. Shock beyond me. The first exam we did, I think I became number 23 overall. They're going with that report from at home. Remember, this time we are still sponsored. My other siblings are still learning. The situation at home now is getting very bad. Because remember, now the economy is also again getting worse. We don't grow any food. My grandma this time had died, so we can't go back.
Oh, sorry.
And I can tell you one thing. You see this thing called unga, the packet of unga for that time. For us, during holidays, every time we go holiday, kama tumefunga tumekuja half term. Kama kuna chakula, now we have to come in and support the parents. Also some of the disadvantages sometimes comes in also when you're a firstborn, and you also not coming from a well-to-do family. I remember there used to be a local posho mill around where we used to stay. So sometimes napata madhe ameenda kutafuta, yes, amekuja na mboga lakini hauna unga. So what do? Unaenda kwa posho, unaona ile posho ukisiagi unapiganga pam. So as what we used to do, I used to operate at the posho during my afternoon. That's class 8, and even in Form 1, majorly Form 1, part of Form 2. So I used to operate that thing. So I used to encourage guys not to hit that thing.
Because you want to later.
You want to hit it later?
I want to hit it. So I used to have my small kasuku or some small container there. So I exchanged very fast. So akishamaliza mbele toka bwana na anaweka yake. So by the time they're all done for the day, I come back and do my thing. Kuna kambao iko hapo chini, naishika hapo chini. Jioni watu wakifunga, mimi pia naenda home na huu. Mada alishaleta mboga. Tunakula. So that was it. A good part of that played around my high school from 1 from 2. I remember again my attention now shifted to again KCSE is now coming. How do I need to perform? But something happens before I sit my Form 4 exams. Remember I told you that I was sponsored? My siblings were sponsored, right? The organization or the NGO that was sponsoring the bursaries, some people walienda hapo wakaanza kucheza ukarabati hapo ndani. Unapata sponsor anatoa kitu kama hata 60,000 for school fee, for 2 students. They take half, then they pay half. So they did this for close to 2 years. That is 2010 and 2011. In 2011, the sponsor realized this. For some of these, NGOs and supporters, they're so keen about trust. The moment they realize that there's trust, the mistrust within their fundings and even their financials are being, mishandled, they are likely to cut off that connection. That is not corrected in time. So the board went ahead and played some shady business. Unfortunately, my sponsorship had to end in 2012. And by the time I was finishing high school, I got out of high school with an arrears of close to 19,000 Kenyan shillings. But I thank God, and I do thank God, and I'm not sure that I'm a matter of thanking God, but I think it was so unfortunate because imagine that kid was in Form 1 by the time the sponsorship was being cut. Remember that my siblings were still in primary, were not able to proceed because of the mischievousness that the boards are using, to mismanage the funds. So that happened. Unfortunately for me, it did not affect me much. I performed well. I remember before I even finished my campus, my high school, my performance had become so much better to to the extent that I merged, I think, the best in Kiswahili in the whole county. That time there were districts.
Kusoma Kiswahili.
Bana mimi ni mwenyeji wa lugha bana.
Sasa si upige story kwa Kiswahili bana.
It's been a while. It's been a while, but I love the Swahili language. Napenda na idumu sana lugha ya taifa.
Mimi personally. It's a struggle.
Ni lugha ambayo tunaweza izungumza muda ujao na muda ujao. So tunaweza idengua ikiwako neno kama hilo. So I performed well. My principal was very happy with me. I remember high school gave me exposure because, you know, there's something about coming from an underprivileged background, because that tends to inspire you. If you see the way you live as a kid, growing up under very tough circumstances, things have not been easy for you. Because sometimes people look at you and then they think that you're so successful today, your hair looks so beautiful, you've got very beautiful glasses, you know, you've got a very beautiful shirt. But nobody understands whatever it took you to get to where you are.
Yeah, sure.
There's something that must have inspired you before to do the things that you're doing. So for me, my inspiration was my background. And remember, I had not gotten out of my county.
Okay, but no, my boys in
I had not gotten, no, leave alone that. I had not gotten out of my center. Okay, kwa wale ambao muelewi, my center is like kama unaishi Kasarani ama kama unaishi Kikuyu. The farthest you've ever gone is Nairobi CBD, ama the farthest you've ever gone is Lemuru town. Ama Rokai, J-Toka. The first time to get out of my center was when I was going to Form 1. Yeah, that's the first time to go to Homa Bay town. Now to even shock you more, the first time I came to Nairobi was when I was coming to campus.
Wow.
No, actually the first time to go to Kisii was when I was coming to campus. So Kisii is like saying the first time kutoka Nyeri na hata kufika wapi, kufika Thika ama kufika Makutano, whatever it is, Murang'a na Nanyuki, is when you are going to campus. So I think my principal, I must thank that guy so much, because for every performing student, he used to take us out. So during his time also, I had the opportunity to go to places like Litein, to go to places like Maseno, to go to places like Kakamega. At least that gave me exposure.
While in high school.
But now my first time now to come to Nairobi was when I was coming to campus. Yeah. So that was it. But I believe that even my performance and even what motivated me in life was that background. And then again where I wanted it to be. So I finished my high school. Now,
okay, before we go further,
yeah,
how was life after this scholarship ended?
Life was very tough. But I remember only being sent home once, because the school had been had seen me being consistent. It kuja maneno ya kulipa karo ya shule. So they said, okay, let's just give him something. Maybe he'll pay the way he has been paying before. But then I had not paid again for term 1, term 2. Now term 3, 2 weeks to KCSE, they sent me home. But then the principal called me and said, I want you to do the exams, but when you're done, pay. Just do the exam, because I was a performing student. So I did my high school and I passed, but then I had arrears. This is now where real responsibility begins. You know me, I always longed for money coming into my hands. Because even in high school, my dad rarely used to give me
pocket money.
Wait, pocket money ulisikia wapi?
Which money?
Which money? Because I remember, even you know, even fair to come.
Sorry, the pocket money ulisikia.
Pocket money. You know, you guys used to talk about pocket money. I was like, you mean you guys are being given
money?
So you used to go to school like time imeanza wenda shule.
Ulikuwa unapatiwa shopping kweli?
No, there's no shopping. The only shopping my dad ever did for me was when I was going to Form 1.
Yeah, I mean Form 1.
Yeah. And actually, even when guys upper katikati, many of the times I actually walked from
the
high school, from Homa Bay to home, like from high school to home. It's like a distance of 40 kilometers.
Hey, bro.
Walking.
Yeah, walking. You know, it was so tough because, you know, the schools are, maybe you're going for half term tomorrow, right? And you umechukua simu ya mwalimu ukampigia mzazi unampigia mwambie shule inafungwa kesho tunakuja half term, nitumie hata cafe. That time fare is 150. Ananiambia hana. So utafanya nini? Anakuambia mwambie mwalimu akupatie nitampatia, which is also a lie. This is a lie. Nikimwambia mwalimu kitu kama hiyo, watu sio wajinga bwana. Watu sio wajinga.
Ati mwalimu akupatie nitampatia.
There's a day actually, you know, my dad is a very funny guy, but I don't blame him. There's a day he told me, you see those marks, those shuttles that are on the stage. He told me, I've talked to one of the man-uppers there. Go there, tell him you're the son of so-and-so. Tell him I've told him. Tell him I have told him. I've told the driver, I know what. Tell him I have told the driver to bring you home. I could not dare. So I had to take route 11, I had to walk. So what I do, I just take a bottle of water, fill it with the OG, because we used to leave the assembly at 7 a.m. Fill it with OG and maybe 2 mandazis. Then by 7 a.m. I start walking.
7 a.m.
Yeah.
So did you even find someone when you come and tell me peke yako?
Most of the times it was me. Maybe it was, the other guys I could find were going short distances.
Okay.
Mazee unatembea mpaka mkuia. You know, today when I sit down sometimes in the evening, I still feel my feet in the
Because of how you walked in high school.
Yeah, I walked. Sometimes when I sit down, especially when the weather is hot, I feel the soles of my feet are, I think the vessels became numb or something. Mazee ulikuwa unatembea kutoka distance mpaka hapa. Unaona like 1 kilometer away, it's still a straight line, and you have to go cover that distance, then after tena upige corner. Na mali unaenda ukimagine, wezi imagine. So unatoka 7 by saa 8. So I would reach home by around 2:30 p.m. or 3 p.m. Then you've reached home, and then you know the situation at home again, the story is the same. And now the worst would now be opening days. Remember you walked while coming.
You don't even wish for going on for half time. You don't look at Easter.
Actually, when I reached from 4, I stopped going for half time. I just decided to stay in school. And during openings, it was worse because now you have to go back. This is a mandatory. You have to open on the opening day. So, to cut the long story short, it was a trek, but it was a very evil trek because remember I told you that the distance from home to school was 40 kilometers, but the fare was 150. So this is what happens. There's a bus there, a shuttle that used to give us a ticket at how much? At 150. So may I go with 50 bob. Then I tell them I'm going to a certain place, but I put there, they write there 50 bob. So when they write with the pen 50, it's very easy to put a 1 there. So when they get to the car, then they come looking for the ticket. You just show them the name. They only see the one, but they don't see the destination. So they cover traffic, and then you reach home. Well, when it comes to shopping, I think during my high school I used to mentor and coach so many students in Form 1, Form 2, Form 3. So mimi nilikuwa narudi kwa shule napata a Form 1 azikama, hey, hi, how are you? Amekuachia tissue, a roll of tissue, amekuachia bulb soap. The students even I used to mentor in my fellow classmates, some even come and even give me money. So napata by the end of the day, shule zikifunguliwa mimi ni sawa tu kama the other students. So that is how I survived, and eventually I managed to finish high school.
So that was your high school life.
Yeah.
And how it was. Yeah. That was so nice. So our viewers, your story, it sounds like nimecheka.
Yeah.
The interesting part ni time unapigia babako. Akutumie pesa alafu anakuambia ambia mwalimu, bwana, hapo ni